Hello my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with our Midweek Magic deck for you to play, and it looks like we are playing an Explorer this week, so this actually should be pretty easy for us. We actually have more than enough decks to choose from, but let's go back to an old standby and dive right in. So the standby deck we are going with today is going to be Burn. As you know, being how I am a big fan of aggro and burn style decks, so this is perfectly in my wheelhouse, and I'm sure if you're just trying to get through this event as fast as possible, I usually recommend this style of deck. So real quick, we're just going to go over a very brief overview of this. I'm sure many of you who do play Magic already understand how Burn works, but the only reason also why we're playing it is I just wanted to give a test run to the new card that was added to Explorer, which is Searing Blood. Real quick, for those of you that are unaware, it's a 2-mana instant speed card that allows you to do 2 damage to a target creature. When that creature dies this turn, you then do 3 damage to the creature's controller. Otherwise, most of the package is what you've seen before in some of our other deck types we've already done on budget, and also I'm sure many other variants of Burn. So real quick, in the 1-drop slot, we have Get to Lava Runner. We'll have Soulscar Mage as our creatures, and then we will have 4 copies of Play with Fire, does the 2 damage. Scrying is also great if we hit to face, always a sweet option to use. A single copy for spice reasons, Satyr's Cunning. I've always advocated that a single copy of this is actually really good in burn decks for one reason, because this is repeatable options for you to kind of help close out the game if you're struggling in burn, and you've seen it many times before. The main thing that hurts this deck, of course, is life gain. If we deal with life gain, we are going to have a hard time trying to close the game out, so just keep that in mind. That's why I run the card. In the 2-drop slot, you'll have Thermal Alchemist. Remember, as always, to tap it before you cast your spell, so this way then you can untap it, do a little extra damage, and stretch out more value out of your burn spells with this. The other creature that we have is Viashino Pyromancer, 2/1 Viashino Wizard. When it enters the battlefield, just 2 damage to either a player or a planeswalker. Don't underestimate the fact that you can also hit a planeswalker. Sometimes finishing off the planeswalker is much more important than actually burning to face. But again, in most matchups, you just want to hit the face so you can either trigger off some of our other cards that we'll talk about in a second, or at least, again, help speed up the clock against them. In the 3-drop slot, as I just mentioned, we have Bone Crusher Giant, but also we have, using the Spectacle ability, Light Up Stage, and Skewer the Critics. As I just mentioned with the Pyromancer and the Thermal Alchemist, you want to do a little bit of damage first off to maximize the value of these cards and also minimize how much you're spending mana-wise to cast them. And finally, the last card that you should only be casting for 1 mana also is Wizard's Lightning. As long as we have a Wizard out, it only just needs to be 1 red mana, which of course we have Soulscar Mage, the Lava Runner, and the Pyromancer ensures that we have at least 1 wizard out on the field at all times. Pretty cut and dry, we've seen it before. The only major difference this time around is we now have a couple of better options to also help us close out the game with Den of the Bugbear. Well, I would recommend 2 copies of this. We'll have 12 Mountains, 4 copies of Ramanant Ruins, and Sokuzin Crucible Defiance to also create a couple more tokens. Again, this is just going to help us overall close out the games a little bit easier. But aside from that, as always, before we jump into the gameplay, just make sure to give a like on this video and subscribe to the channel to see all the deck techs, booster pack openings, and so much more. Again, guys, I see a majority of you are watching these videos and are not subscribed, so if you just do that, I really would appreciate it, and it really would show that you guys really do care about the content that I do. But otherwise, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into some quick games. Again, as always, if you see my videos, I will not do any commentary during the videos. Just enjoy the gameplay to see how the deck is meant to be run, and hope you enjoy. that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.